Our next challenge is to find culture in religion rather than religion in culture. As we explore this, we'll begin to find out that it's not so easy to distinguish the two. An example of culture in religion might also be seen the other way round, as the religion in culture. This isn't a problem, as it highlights the main issue, that religion and culture are not so easily distinguished. Even though we are used to the warning to mind the gap, in fact, there is no gap. If you've seen the first of the Matrix films, you may recall the visit that the protagonist, Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, makes to a woman known as the Oracle. As he's waiting to speak to her, he meets with a young boy who's named Spoon Boy in the credits, who is working hard on a trick with a spoon. Spoon Boy hands Neo the spoon, with the instruction, "Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth." "What truth?" Neo asks him. And Spoon Boy gives him the answer. "There is no spoon." Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself. This encounter is part of Neo's path to enlightenment. The reality that he sees around him is non-existent, or not true existence. Armed with that knowledge, he can then go on to do all sorts of unusual things, such as dodging bullets and beating bad guys. Now, I'm not claiming here that there is some ultimate underlying reality in which there is no spoon. Instead, I am saying that at one level there is no gap. There is no distinction between culture and religion. However, we do still look to find it, because we are so familiar with these terms as defining things that we think are different. We are looking for a distinction between religion and culture because that is how we have learned to see things. The categories religion and culture are, however, more complicated than that. So, let us proceed with finding culture and religion. When exploring the issue of culture in religion, the next problem we have is deciding what we mean by a religion. If we are looking for culture within religion, we usually find that it is located within particular religions, rather than in general religion. The exploration of the meaning of this idea of religion as particular entities is quite different from the earlier discussion we had about what is religion. That is, what do we mean, how do we define a particular religion, such as Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and so on? Or, to put this more simply, what is Christianity, or what is Islam? These are questions that are more difficult than you might think to answer. In fact, there are various answers that we can give, or various ways in which we can try to find answers to that question of what is Christianity. Firstly, we could see Christianity as institutional, as an organization. That is, Christianity is the church, which may for some perhaps be a single church, such as the Catholic Church, or for others it might be the whole body of all the churches of Christ. All the Christian churches together make up Christianity. Second, it might be seen in terms of teachings and texts. For example, we could say that Christianity can be located in the Bible, plus perhaps the teachings that have derived from that book. These may be things such as church doctrine, Christian thinking, and the morality of those who consider themselves Christian. The third possibility is Christianity is a group of people. That is, those people who consider themselves as belonging to that religion, to Christianity, those who consider themselves Christians. In this sense, Christianity is the body of Christians, often referred to by believers as the body of Christ, or the Christian fellowship, or simply as Christendom. And the fourth option would be to see the religion, the particular religion, as a discourse, as a way of talking, that the religion exists because the people who identify with that religion consider that they are united into a single religion. Thus, for example, Christianity is the entity that Christians say they are part of. It may be associated with certain texts and narratives, and perhaps certain institutions. In many respects, this fourth option is saying all of the above, 1, 2, 3, and 4 together, but with the addition that the religion exists particularly within the discourses, in the ways in which people talk, rather than seeing it as existing in things, such as what they talk about. The further we look into this, the more things become challenging. Is there a single entity that we can actually call Christianity? And likewise with Islam or Buddhism, or any other religion that we think we know. An alternative, which has become popular in anthropological studies of religion, is to talk about specific religions in the plural rather than the singular. That is, to talk about Christianities, Islams, Buddhisms, and so on. The advantage of doing this is obvious. We don't have to find something that unites all Christians or Muslims, etc., other than their sense of being related together as a single entity. And in the case of Christians, they very often feel that they are not all united. The numerous divisions among Christians are often accompanied by a denial that they, whoever they are not proper Christians. But one problem here is, where does it stop? Does the division of Christianity into Christianities stop at the regional, national, or sectarian levels? That is, does Christianity divide up into Christianities such as African Christianity, or Protestant, or Pentecostal Christianity, or British or French Christianity? Should it go down further, perhaps to the level of the individual? That is to say, there are a plethora of individual Christianities, each distinct and different, although connected with others to a greater or lesser extent. Such an approach does not appear to be workable. That is, if it is troublesome to talk about Christianity as a distinct whole, united by one or all of the factors we've outlined above, then it is equally troublesome to talk about Christianities. Neither of these can be distinguished as religions in themselves, whilst very often we may say that both terms are used to describe particular religions, particularly by those that view Christianity in terms of Christianities, in the plural. My own response to this is to try to avoid these problems, since the term religion, as referring to a distinct and bounded tradition, is too misleading that does not really help us understand anything. Religions are not clubs, and they're not societies. They are, if anything, groups of people who self-identify in particular ways, who say things such as, "We are Christians" or "We are Muslims." But very often they gloss over the actual boundaries of who is included when the term is used, and who is not. Most religions, particular religions, have groups who consider themselves that they belong, but they are rejected by the majority. For example, most Christians would say that the Mormons, followers of the Church of Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints, are not Christians, even though Mormons themselves would say that they are. Similar conflicts of identity are found amongst Muslims, such as for followers of the Ahmadiyya sect, who are considered outside of Islam by most Muslims, and this is found in many other religions too. Indeed, one of the ways in which a religion may in fact be made up of different smaller religions, i.e. Christianity into Christianities, may be on account of culture itself, and this is the first place in which we might find culture in religion. Thus, the differences within Christianity are often due to cultural differences. When we find various Christianities, their differences may well be due to the different cultures in which the religion of Christianity is located. To illustrate this, if we say that Christianity is a distinct religion, then it is certainly found in different forms across the globe. Although some of the variations in Christianity are down to doctrine and history, such as divisions between Catholics and Protestants, there are other differences due to the local or the cultural context. Thus, Protestant Christianity in Britain has a different feel and practice to Protestant Christianity in Africa, Asia, or South America. The cultures of each of these places are different, and so the way in which the people, who all consider themselves Christians, how they express and practice their religion, will be shaped in a large part by their particular cultures. One obvious difference may be the language used, but many other aspects of the particularity of culture will also impact on the local religion. It is in fact very difficult to find any particular manifestation of any religion that is free from such cultural influence. In fact, all religions and all religious practices are manifest through the prism of culture. Religions are what people do, and it is not possible to have people do anything without them practicing their cultures. On a simple level, culture is an essential part of human behavior. I am not saying here that there is a religious thing going on behind this that is beyond the human. There might be, or there might not be. In order to say one way or another is to engage in a form of theology. To say that religion exists beyond the human requires us to have faith that it exists. We might or might not have that faith. Answering the question about the existence of that faith is a matter for theology. But we can talk about what people do when they are being religious, when they are practicing and living out and thinking about their religions. This is what people do, and that is also something that is done as a cultural practice, within the context of that person's culture. In this respect, religion is always within culture. It is done by humans, and humans have culture. In the end, this perhaps means that we've got the question the wrong way around. If all religion is done within the context of culture, as a part of culture, then what do we mean when we say that a particular religion exists beyond the context of a particular culture? What is the religion of Christianity that exists beyond the particular contexts of southern USA or northern England or Kenya or Peru? What makes all of those different particular examples of Christianity, or different Christianities, going back to the idea of the plural, what makes each of them together a unified religion? This takes us back to the initial elements I discussed above. We could say they all share the same texts, for example, the Christian Bible, and in particular the teachings of the New Testament. They all share a sense of a Christian church, or at least overlapping views of churches, which in practice differ according to Catholic, Protestant, or other traditions and teachings. They all share a sense of a common brethren, or religious community, and they all share a sense of commonality, of being part of a singular Christianity. But they are all manifest and lived as different traditions, according to the local particular context. And that is why we can talk here of culture in religion. What we see, what we observe of what the people do, is the culture as the religion. We'll explore this a bit further in our next podcast.